Hi, this is my thoughts on Gennady Golovkin versus David Lemieux. If any of you who have watched my channel with any sort of regularity, you'll know that I have been in close contact with Abel Sanchez, the trainer of Gennady Golovkin, and I said that one of the fights Gennady Golovkin has to have in the middleweight division is against David Lemieux. Now let me take you back a bit. Gennady Golovkin, in a lot of people's eyes, well, I won't say a lot of people's eyes, in few people's eyes, they believe that Gennady Golovkin can beat Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, Marvin Hagler, Thomas Hearns. He could beat any middleweight in the world. He's indestructible. He's unbeatable. He's Mr. Fantastic. He could probably beat them all in one night if you actually listen to some of these people talk. But these people probably wouldn't even know who Sugar Ray Leonard was or who Sugar Ray Robinson was, let alone who Julian Jackson is. And again, this is not a rundown of Gennady Golovkin. This is just my thoughts on the whole fight. Now, David Lemieux has been beaten. He has been knocked out. And the first thing people say about Lemieux is, well, he's got a suspect chin. Okay, we know that. And you know why we know Lemieux's got a suspect chin? Because he's been in the ring with a banger who went in there to hit him on the chin and ran out of gas and got punched in the chin and got knocked out. Happens. So what's the problem with that? But he got tested. He's been tested. You can't say that for Gennady Golovkin, to be honest. This is the first fight Gennady Golovkin can be having against a guy who, not a guy who's a puncher, let's get this correct, a guy whose main objective is to knock you out. And this guy has the aggressive mentality to do so in David Lemieux. Yes, again, you say Lemieux's got a suspect chin, but let's be honest, who has Gennady Golovkin fought that hits like David Lemieux? That is the question. We're going to find out. Before you talk about knocking out Sugar Ray Robinson or beating up Thomas Hearns or destroying Sugar Ray Robinson, let's just talk about your own era and what you've done in your era. And I talked to Abel Sanchez about it. I said, Abel, this is the first time, I've been asking for this fight, as a fight fan. This is the first fight Gennady Golovkin's going to be in with a live opponent that can hit him back and knock him out. In the past, it's been pretty much cat and mouse. Gennady gets in the ring. His intent is to knock you out. He has the time and space to land his punches. 95 to 98% of his opponents are already on the back foot, knowing I'm worried about the power. And if they're not worried about the power, and if they're trying to forget about the power, don't you worry. Our good old media journalists out there will say, aren't you worried about the power of Gennady Golovkin? What about the power of Gennady Golovkin? How are you going to take the power of Gennady Golovkin? How are you going to react to when Gennady Golovkin hits you? Oh, he's very good at cutting down the ring. Everybody knows about the Gennady Golovkin power. But I would question that power just for a second, because we just go back to the Martin Murray fight. I want to ask you a question. I know a lot of people say that Gennady Golovkin's a great big puncher, or GGG's a great puncher, but let's just go a little bit back in history, not too far back. Would Martin Murray have gone 11 rounds of Nigel Benn at middleweight? Would Martin Murray have gone 11 rounds of Gerald McLennan at middleweight? Would Martin Murray have gone 11 rounds with Julian Jackson 11 rounds? I think, if you're honest with yourself, would Sugar Ray Leonard have gone 11 rounds with Martin Murray? Probably not. And I have to say this because when I mention this, you have to mention this in accordance to those people who will say Gennady Golovkin could smash all those fighters. So let's move away from that sort of fantasy thought and let's deal with what we've got here. Gennady Golovkin, it's okay cutting the ring down against a guy who you've got no concern about him hitting you back. Gennady Golovkin throughout his career so far has got a lot of credit for fighting B-class opposition. And while Lemieux is not a superstar, Lemieux is a live opponent. When I mean live, he's coming to fight. He is a current world champion. And he's hungry. He's not a guy who's had the life beaten out of him. He's not a guy who... He's used to losing. He's lost a fight. He knows what it is to lose a fight. So that can sometimes make a fighter tighten up, work on things, make him a better fighter. A loss isn't a bad thing. I know in today's era people think a loss is a bad thing. I would disagree and say, well, sometimes a loss, you learn more from a loss than you do by knocking out guys that you expected to knock out. You see, Gennady Golovkin's done everything that's been expected of him to this point, and you can't knock him for that. But if you get in the ring doing the same thing over and over again as you step up in opposition, you can get exposed. And why, as a lot of people say, oh, Gennady doesn't get hit often, Gennady's this, Gennady's that. I've said to his training, look, your guy has got flaws. Your guy's open to punches. Dan Abel tells me about the stats and how less punches he gets hit with at a certain level. Willie Monroe was able to catch Gennady in few rounds after Gennady dropped him. So Monroe fought better after he'd been dropped. So I just say that this guy Lemieux could cause a sensation. He could cause the upset because you really don't know how good Gennady Golovkin is. You only can go on gym reports. You can go on what he's done so far in his career. But what he's done so far in his career, you know, you are scratching because yes, he's beaten a lot of guys, but who's he beaten? And Lemieux, I'm not saying Lemieux's a superstar. What I am saying, he has got A class or first class or world class punching power, and that is all I'm looking at Lemieux in this fight for, as a puncher, a genuine puncher who doesn't mind going to war. That is all I'm interested in for this fight. So this is the test for Gennady Golovkin in this particular fight. We should learn a lot more about him. If Gennady Golovkin goes out there and blows Lemieux out in a couple of rounds, what can I say about it? I'll tell you what I will say. I'll say, well, you know what? We know that this guy has passed the test in terms of going in with a guy who, although he's favourite to beat, you're not 100% sure. Nobody can be 100% sure that Gennady Golovkin is going to win this fight. Because nobody can be 100% sure to know if Gennady Golovkin can take the power of Lemieux. People will say, oh, we know that Lemieux won't take the power of Gennady Golovkin. But nobody for sure can say if Gennady Golovkin will take the power of Lemieux. And it's not like he's not easy to hit, because he's easy to hit. You look at the Daniel Gil fight, where Gil got clipped. When he went down, he actually was connecting with Gennady, and Gennady was going backwards, or was going forwards, and Gil was going forwards, and he caught Gennady, and Gennady was the one who got off better, and Gil went down. Think about that being with somebody who is a genuine puncher. Abel Sanchez says, if it's not broke, don't fix it. My philosophy would be, okay, it's not broke, but there's a possibility, there's cracks. There's cracks in the surface, there's cracks in the pipe. You need to start looking at those cracks. So for me, I'm only seeing this fight as a 50-50 fight, because I know what Lemieux's at or has been at, and I don't know what Gennady Golovkin's really about. And until he gets hit in the chin by a guy who's got serious power, I can't really say Gennady Golovkin can beat Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, Marvin Hagler, all those great guys, because all those great guys have fought other world champions, and all those great guys have been in real fights and be tested. And you can't really, put somebody in a Hall of Fame category and they haven't even fought anybody worthy of being in a Hall of Fame. So that's just what it is. It's not hating, it's just stating the facts. Gennady Golovkin has really fought nobody of note yet in his career, but he's getting a lot of praise. In fact, more praise than a guy that's fought, for example, Andre Ward, who's fought 4 or 5 guys who potentially could be Hall of Famers in the future. Carl Froch will be one. Arthur Abraham may go down as one. Who else? Sakia Beater may go down as one. I mean, look, if Arturo Gatti can get in, I'm sure Sakia Beater will get a chance in there as well. So, I mean, if not Hall of Famers, top fighters who have been world champions. So, I mean, I don't know. The verdict is, let's wait and see. Is this guy going to be great? Let's wait and see. Is he good? Yeah, he's good. Can he cut a ring down? Yeah, he can at a certain level. Can you still do those same things when the pressure's on you, when the heat's on you, when you're getting hit back with punches that you don't expect to get hit back with? Can you come for a fight when somebody's hit you on the chin, your legs start doing a funny dance? Can you come back from that? Nobody knows, because Gennady's never been there. You know? You don't know. You just hear of rumours that he's good. You can't really... You can judge it by what he's fought so far, but nothing what he's fought so far, as far as I'm concerned, can prepare him for what Lemieux is going to be giving him, which is pure punch power, with a guy who's got the intent to knock him out. You know, the guy that's may have been punches, Curtis Stevens, bring up the Curtis Stevens thing. Curtis Stevens didn't have the mentality that was, I'll knock you out, regardless. Curtis Stevens was more concerned about him getting hit, and if you listen, talk to any experienced trainers, they'll tell you he was more concerned of not getting knocked out. I doubt if Lemieux is going to come in with that attitude. You know, he's a hungry young fighter that's live. And Martin Murray wasn't a puncher. He was what I call, in terms of Gennady Golovkin, a walking punch bag. When you're looking at class and levels, you know, Martin Murray is good at a certain level. If you're fighting against Felix Sturm, or you're fighting against a past it Sergio Martinez, you know, that's fine. But when you're now moving up in a different level with a guy who is a big puncher, a volume puncher, and an accurate puncher, and a heavy puncher in Gennady Golovkin, Martin Murray then becomes a walking punch bag. That's what he becomes, because he's got no punch, he's got no sort of power. You might be physically strong to absorb punishment, but as an actual and as an offensive machine, he's not an offensive machine. So for me, Lemieux is an offensive machine. That's all he knows, as far as I'm concerned, and it's going to be a hell of a fight. And I, for one, am looking forward to this. This is definitely a match I'm looking forward to. So let me know what you think. Your thoughts on this fight. Do you really see it as Gennady Golovkin is just going to step in the ring and knock Lemieux out? Or is there possibly an upset here? For me, I wouldn't be surprised if there was an upset, because we're now talking about serious punch power now. The jokes are over. This is serious business. Can you cut the ring down against a guy who's pinging with big punches? That's a different situation altogether. So I like to close the range down against a guy who can't punch. It's okay to close the range down against a guy who's scared of you hitting him. Yeah, it's real quick to do. It's okay to do that. But it's harder to hunt a man down when he's whacking you with big shots and you have to fight off the back foot. Gennady's good going forward. What happens when he starts getting pushed onto the back foot and starts getting pinged with big shots? What happens then? I'm not putting this on Lemieux, because we know in the past how Lemieux has responded. This fight isn't about David Lemieux. This fight is about Gennady Golovkin, because Gennady Golovkin, at the moment, is on that hype train. He's an all-time great already in people's eyes, and he hasn't even fought anybody really of Hall of Fame greatness. Okay, so you know, and if you look at Gennady Golovkin's resume and then you put Floyd Mayweather's resume next to Gennady Golovkin, they shouldn't even be in the same room. The conversation shouldn't even be had in terms of resumes. Do you understand? How many unification matches has Gennady Golovkin been in? How many unification matches has Floyd Mayweather been in? It's just not, you know. And look at the age difference. Let's see when Floyd was Gennady's age. What was Floyd doing? I just let Gennady do what he's doing, and let's see if he can do it. Let's see if this guy's going to be, a great fighter, a very good fighter, a good fighter, or a hype job. We're going to find out. Or we're going to find a little bit more in this fight against Lemieux. Let me know what you think. I'm out. Take care.